Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today on Nerd Sports, we're going to talk about the Finland sport of wife carrying. Yes, that's right. I said it right. Wife carrying.
Do they club them before or after they get them over the threshold?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just
you would
looking
assume
at the
it would
picture.
be before, right?
Well, they actually go through events and they go like through the water, all kinds of stuff and everything. I just Googled it. I was like weird sports, and that's the main thing. We're going to talk about wife.
So Norway, I want you to show me where on Bad Touch Grogu.
No,
that the world
we do not use Grogu like that.
Hey,
we use Bob Ross, but we can't use
I didn't
Grogu.
punch him. I didn't punch him.
I don't
take that shit out on me. No. I'm not some random stormtrooper. Okay. Was that with Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah, no. I think that's
how much hate mail he got for that? Negative Ghost Rider.
I mean, his wife at the time, Olivia Wilde.
Seriously?
Olivia Wilde screamed at him. She's like, "Why are you what do you call why are you trending on Twitter right now?" That is so cute. That is so awesome. I want that. What the hell, man? You're getting all kind of cool stuff.
No, dude, that was Reagan's Christmas present. He left it here because he didn't want to get torn up at the house.
I'm so upset now.
Just like Colin left this here.
Man, I'm just gonna go to your house and just start I'm getting in like a trash bag and just start grabbing stuff.
No. Because if you do, I got something for you.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I will beat you with this thing.
Dude, you doing that just kind of got me all excited and everything.
Yeah, right?
What the? It's so messed up. Let's see how big we can get that colon.
Right.
But like you're saying, though, our picks this week, or your picks this week.
Dude, the picks, the Angry Me picks for the week. Let's get into it. Okay. So
by the way, if you think we know anything about, football, let's look at our picks and see how they like drop the ball almost each week. We got like one good week and that's about it. And that was our first week picking. So it gave us like
right. Well, right now Georgia is losing 3-0 in the first quarter to Alabama. So the fact that Alabama hasn't just like completely blown out Georgia out of the building, I'm happy about. I really want Georgia to win tonight. I'm going on record as saying that, but we'll see what happens. So our NFL picks for the week 18 games, the season finale. And do you want to talk about playoff scenarios and pairings and teams needing all kinds of help to get into the playoffs and then things working out the way that they did? If you would have tried to sell this as a Hollywood script, I'd have told you, don't try to pin that off on anybody because nobody's going to make that movie. And I would have gotten up and left because it was just too unbelievable. All right. So you remember how we told you that we're never picking the Broncos again because anytime the Broncos get picked by us, they let us down. Well, we picked the Chiefs and the Chiefs squeaked out a win over the Broncos 28-24.
It's pretty much like the thing that, you don't pick them because you want to win type deal. Because it'll be a jinx if we actually pick them.
Well, to be completely and totally honest, I didn't want to pick the Broncos anyway because I knew that they had a chance to beat the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes figured out how to play football again. So Kansas City becomes the 5th team in NFL history to get 12+ win seasons, 4 straight seasons in a row. Okay. So, moving on to the Cowboys, we picked the Cowboys to beat the Eagles, and oh my God.
Yeah, the Cowboys. There's memes about that.
Breaks off of the Eagles, 51-26. And that last touchdown by Philadelphia was just kind of like, Dallas had their third string defense in. So they're like, whatever. You guys do you. Um, Dak Prescott, 37 touchdown passes on the season, and he passed Tony Romo for the most touchdown passes in Dallas history. So that game was pretty cool. We're going to get into how the playoff seedings panned out here in just a little bit, but we're going to continue on this road of okay. Part of me wanted to pick the Lions this week. Part of me. But then common sense and fear overruled, and I said, you know what? We're going to pick the Packers. Well, guess what? The Lions beat the Packers 37-30. Oh. And by doing so, they gave Jacksonville the number 1 overall draft pick next year.
Yeah, Jacksonville didn't do any kind of good stuff this year.
Well, Jacksonville beat the Colts. We had both of those games going the other way.
Yeah, because we were looking at it as a thing that Jacksonville sucks this year. They're gonna lose, and like, wait a minute, how the fuck did they pull that one off?
Well, to get back on the winning side of things, we picked New York to lose to Washington, and Washington came in and they didn't beat the brakes off the Giants, but they definitely made the Giants acutely aware of their mortality. 22-7 was the final on that one. We had the Bears over the Vikings, and the Vikings decided to show up and play football. And they finished the season with 8-9 as an 8-9 record by beating the Bears 31-17. Now, like the Bears, I had noted before we started recording that the Bears fired their GM today. And you had said that they fired their head coach also?
Yeah, they fired the head coach. It was so horrible of a team this year that they decided to get rid of all the head of the team. So they're going in brand new, almost with a new coach.
They just need a different culture in the Bears organization. And I think changing the coach and the general manager is going to be good. Because it just, I don't know why. It just, I don't know. I mean, I have high hopes for the Bears next year. So we'll see. We had the Titans over the Texans. The Titans locked up the number 1 seed in the AFC, taking home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC is going to have to travel through Music City, Tennessee. They beat the Texans 28-25. And what should have been Ben Roethlisberger's last game. They beat the Ravens 16-13. We had that game picked, the Steelers beating the Ravens. So we had that one picked right. So that's 2 games in a row that we've picked correctly. Don't be so optimistic for the following game. But we're going to get into we're going to get into to Pittsburgh. We're going to come back to Pittsburgh here in just a second. We had the Bengals beating the Browns, and the Browns won their home closer, 21-16 over the Bengals. So we go 2 and then we lose 1. So it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We had the Rams over the Niners, and the Rams lost 27-24. That was an interesting game. The Rams had already clinched their division, so they won the NFC West. The Niners needed to win to get in, and that's exactly what happened. The Niners came to play. They beat the Rams to win their way into the playoffs. Now, they are the lowest seed in the playoffs, but they're still there. So, and then we had the Buccaneers over the Panthers. That happened in a big way, 41-17. Tampa Bay with 13 wins for the first time in a single season in franchise history. Now, last year, the reason why this is a scary prospect or a scary thing is because last year when Tampa Bay won it all, they got into the playoffs on the wild card with a 9-6 season. Or 9-7 rather. This year, they went 13-5. And they are the number 2 seed in the playoffs. And we'll get into all that here in just a few minutes. Hold on. Georgia's backed up to their 4-yard line. And hey, we're gonna run it and try to get ourselves some breathing room. Oh, gee. Okay, all right. Okay. Now, moving on. We had the Cardinals picked to beat the Seahawks. Seahawks had other ideas. They came and they beat the Cardinals 38-30. Arizona's lost 4 of their last 5 games. They started the season 10-2. Everybody had them picked as the number 1 seed going in because they're like, over the first half of the season, Cardinals had the answer for everything. And then they started losing people to COVID protocol. They started losing people to injury. Kyler Murray just couldn't carry the team. And so that knocked Arizona down in the seeding for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You hear a bunch of crap going on in my background because I've got the college football championship game going on in the background. I'm dumping stuff all over my desk. It's a mess. We had the Patriots beating the Dolphins. Patriots gave it their good old college try. They lost 24-33. That was an amazing catch just now. Okay. We had the Saints over the Falcons. That game worked out for us. The Saints beat the Falcons. New Orleans won last of their four of their last 5 games versus Atlanta. So that was good. That was pretty much one of the prevailing reasons why I picked New Orleans over Atlanta. But excuse me. We had the Bills beating the Jets, and the Bills clinched their division. They clinched the AFC East with a 27-10 win over the Jets. So JETSS, the Jets are going to suck again until they get some new draft talent and effectively end somebody's NFL career before it even starts.
Yeah.
And then the coolest game all weekend was the Sunday night game. It was the season finale for the NFL regular season. It was the last game being played. It was the Chargers at the Raiders, and we had the Raiders picked to beat the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
It came down to the final play with 2 seconds left in overtime. The Raiders beat the Chargers 35-32. Now, what made this game just amazing was the fact that Pittsburgh had won their game, and so they could advance with a Raiders or Chargers win, right? So long as somebody won that game, they were in. Now, if those teams tied, Pittsburgh was out, and both the Chargers and the Raiders would have advanced to the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, I'm telling you, like I said, it came down to the final 2 seconds of overtime. People in Pittsburgh were sweating it. And I mean, it was brutal. Yeah. So, I mean, there was 2 Pittsburgh fans that they kept showing on TV last night, and they were sweating it. They were about to lose their mind because, I mean, San Diego came back Los Angeles came back and tied the game to end regulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the Raiders kick a field goal, then the Chargers kicked a field goal. So the next score was going to win, but you really had to start looking at the clock. And the Raiders kept running the ball. So we're thinking, oh man, what if this game does end in a tie? I mean, you could almost hear people gathering gas cans, torches, and pitchforks all around the greater Pittsburgh area, getting ready to burn their city down.
Yeah, they're really known for doing weird shit for football.
I mean, you see
games.
videos all the time where,
I mean,
you
that
know,
one time when they won, they actually like looted the whole freaking
well, like
town.
you see like them losing a game, and like you see these videos of fans at home ripping their TVs off the wall.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, bro. I mean, I get angry. I get like Bruce Banner angry. Like I want to smash. But
I
draw the line at personal property destruction.
Yeah. I mean, I almost lost a co-host because of the Army Navy game.
Hey, you know what? That's a private thing, and I'll invite you to stay out of my personal life, David. Anyways, moving on to things that are important. The AFC playoff picture. All right, so 7 teams from each conference get into the playoffs. The number 1 seed gets a first round bye. Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody else has to play wild card games to advance to the divisional rounds. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the number 1 seed in the AFC is the Tennessee Titans. Nobody saw that coming. Everybody had picked the Chiefs to be the number 1 seed. Chiefs struggled there towards the tail end of the home stretch. So they had wrapped up the number 2 seed. Number 3 seed is the Buffalo Bills. So they moved up 1 spot when they clinched their division to become the number 3 seed. The Bengals, by virtue of losing to the Browns, dropped 1 spot. They're now the number 4 seed. The Raiders, when they clinched their wild card spot, they moved up 3 spots in the standings, and they wrapped up the number 5 seed. The Patriots losing to the Dolphins dropped a spot and they got the number 6 seed, and then the Steelers moved in from nowhere, and they clinched the number 7 seed. So, and I'm going to get into all that here in just a second. We're going to go into the playoff matchups and everything. Packers in the NFC are the number 1 seed, number 2 followed by the Buccaneers. The number 3 seed is the Dallas Cowboys. This is a good thing for a number of different reasons, because of the way that the matchups were looking to pan out and everything like that. So we'll get into that here in just a minute. But the Cowboys are the number 3 seed, and they clinched their division. So the top 3 seeds are division winners. Okay, you got your West, Central, or is it the West? No, there's 4 divisions: North, South, East, and West. Okay. So the number 3 seed is the Cowboys. Number 4 seed is the Rams. The 5th seed is the Arizona Cardinals. Number 6 is the 49ers. And the number 7 seed is the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. So we're going to get into the division wild card weekend. Come on. There we go. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. Now, by virtue of the fact that the Raiders are in the playoffs, they are going to travel to Ohio, and they're going to play the Bengals in Cincinnati. Okay. The Patriots are going to travel north to Buffalo to play the division winner in Buffalo. That's going to be a great game. We're going to get into our picks here in just a few minutes. The Eagles are going to play the Buccaneers. Kind of a no-brainer who we're picking there.
I know,
especially after the ass spanking that the Eagles got by the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun game.
That's brutal. Now,
but I have to say one thing though.
Yeah,
I have to say one thing. I think on the listing that the Green Bay Packers are going to win their matchup, hands down.
Well, we will see. Yeah,
they're on a bye.
They're on a bye. No, see, here I thought you were being serious for just a second, because they've got home field throughout. So anybody and everybody that has to go to play them has to go to Lambeau Field.
Yeah, but they have a bye
in
week.
January.
That's the only reason why they have a clinch to win.
Well, they're not going to win, but they can't lose. How about that?
Yeah, that yeah, that's pretty much.
Now, one of the matchup that I'm looking forward to is San Francisco playing at Dallas. This
Yeah.
game is going to be on Sunday. Now, the Raiders, Bengals, Patriots, and Bills, that's going to be a Saturday marquee matchup. The Raiders and Bengals are going to be the early game at 3:35 Central Time. The Patriots and Bills, that's going to be the primetime matchup Saturday night at 7:15 our time. And then the Eagles and Buccaneers are going to be 12 o'clock on Sunday. 49ers and Cowboys are going to be 3:30, and the Steelers visiting the Chiefs at 7:15. Monday night, there is a Monday night wild card game for the first time ever, and that is going to be the Cardinals at the Rams. So that is a divisional matchup in the playoffs. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
What's really what's really weird about this is I have a lot of people going for San Francisco that I know.
Well, that's just because you got a lot of people in this area that root for the 49ers, just like you got a lot of people in this area that root for the Packers for some ungodly reason. I mean, the Packers, I understand. The 49ers, I think a lot of those people just do it because they're tired of rooting for the Cowboys and getting their hearts broken. Well, guess what? Based on the picks that we're going to pick for Super Wild Card weekend,
Mm-hmm.
let me get. Come on, work with me here.
I do know the on the AFC side, Titans are having a bye week too. So Green Bay,
they are because
Titans
they're
are
the number
bye
one
week.
seed.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take the Bengals over the Raiders because while the Raiders they've got all this momentum going in. I think that the Bengals are going to figure stuff out. Honestly, it could go both ways because they're both 2-10-7 teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be an interesting matchup.
I'm just for sheer want to stick it to the commissioner. I and just the way that they did John Gruden earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to pick the Raiders, but I think that I think Joe Burrow leading that offense, he's got too many weapons. He really does. And their defense is pretty decent. So I'm not looking at the odds. I'm not looking to see what the lines, what the line is on these as far as like what, the odds.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm going to pick the Bengals on this one. Patriots at the Bills. They're playing in Buffalo. More than likely, there will be snow on the field. It's going to be cold one way or the other. Both teams are accustomed to that environment because, New England, Buffalo, they're not that far apart.
I wouldn't imagine that the Bills actually show up to play this year.
Well, they won the division over the Patriots.
Yeah.
And the last time that they played the Patriots, they beat them pretty soundly. I don't know necessarily that I want to pick the Patriots just because they're the Patriots, but because I want to see Mac Jones succeed. I really do. He's their quarterback of the future, the present. He's going to be the face of this franchise going forward. Now granted, he may never be able to completely fill Tom Brady's shoes, but nobody really can. I think that because this is Mac Jones' rookie year, there is big catch by Alabama and the receiver fell down. I think he just blew his ACL.
Ooh, shit.
Hold on, let me watch this here. They're going to slow it down.
Well,
It was
uh,
blown coverage by Georgia. He's wide open down the middle of the field. Oh yeah, yeah. That's what it is. Oh yeah, because his knee went out this way,
mhm.
or his leg went
Oh,
out this
oh,
way, and you
fuck.
saw his knee
Oh,
buckle, and then the end of his quad that comes at the top of the knee, you saw it visibly like quake, like
oh,
something's
I hate.
like
Oh
when you see
man.
somebody pop an
Yeah.
Achilles. Yeah, I think this kid just blew his ACL. Anyways, moving on. I think the rookie in Mac Jones playoff atmosphere, he's gonna have a shaky first series or two, but I think he's gonna ultimately settle down. Um, you know what? We'll take the Patriots over the Bills in the upset. I mean, I don't know. And it's not me picking it because it's the Patriots. It's me because I really think Bill Belichick's going to get his stuff together. He's going to come to play with a defensive scheme and a defensive plan that it's going to have Buffalo scrambling to try to make the adjustments, and then Bill Belichick's going to understand what those adjustments are going to be, and he's going to be ready for it. Because I mean, this is playoff Bill Belichick that we're looking at here. So, I just to me, I think we should go with the Patriots on that one. So that wraps up Saturday's games. Now we are going to definitely take Tom Brady and the Bucks to beat the Eagles, and it's no disrespect to the squawking chickens of Philadelphia, but it's Tom Brady, man, and the Philadelphia Eagles, they are just I think they're going to walk into this game numb. Now, granted, they're playing in Tampa for this game, but still, and then plus on top of that, Tom Brady is going to have a chip on his shoulder because the last team to beat him in the Super Bowl was the Eagles. Granted, it's a different team, but he's still got that vendetta out against the Eagles.
Yeah.
So moving on to the 49ers versus the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to come to play because their offense finally figured it out, started scoring some points when they hung 51 on Philadelphia. Granted, yes, this is the Niners. Now, oddly enough, for those of us who know, Sunday, when the 49ers and Cowboys meet, will be the 40th anniversary of the catch.
Oh, you're talking about that one.
That one play in the NFC Championship game that they played at Old Candlestick Park. So, yeah, but we're going to take the Cowboys over the Niners on that one. Next on our list is going to be Pittsburgh at Kansas City. Kansas City is going to show up. I think Pittsburgh's going to come in. They're going to give it a good effort, but I think the speed of I think Kansas City's speed's just going to be too much for Pittsburgh to overcome. Because even if their secondary starts playing off the line to give themselves a cushion, that's just going to open up the running lanes, and then it's going to open up the underneath passes for the tight ends, the tight end core from Kansas City. So I think the Chiefs over the Steelers on that one. And then the Monday night game is the Cardinals at the Rams. As much as I would love to see the Rams go down, I think Matt Stafford's going to have a chip on his shoulder because they could have won that game over the Niners. It's just they chose not to for whatever reason. Begrudgingly, we're going to take the Rams over the Cardinals.
While you're looking at that and typing that up, I just got another news is the Minnesota Vikings fired head coach Mike Zimmer and GM Rick Spellman.
Oh wow, it's Black Monday.
Yeah. Apparently, owners not looking to undergo full rebuild. So they're probably going to switch some stuff around on that too. Just the so far, just the head coaches and the GM for right now. But draft season is going to be interesting. The draft happens what in March?
Yeah.
I know a guy I know in that worked at correction Pablo Rodriguez. He goes to the draft every year. That's his
thing.
yeah. He's one of those people that loves the game.
All right. So our super wild card weekends are officially in.
All right.
Now, let me go out and state that I am comfortable getting the Bengals wrong. I'm also comfortable getting the Cardinals and Rams game wrong. Pretty confident about I'm confident about the Cowboys, confident about the Chiefs. I'm super confident about the Bucks. I just got this gut feeling to pick the Patriots over the Bills, but we'll see what happens on that one. So I'm comfortable taking the L on two of those picks, but we'll see what happens because the field's going to get narrower and narrower. That's not even a word. The field's going to continue to narrow the further along in this playoff, postseason that we get. Past that, man, there's really not a lot going on.
Yeah,
Elsewhere.
other than the changing of the guard, pretty much on some of the teams.
Yeah.
And the only other thing that we can talk about is we lost a father figure this week.
Yeah.
Bob Saget died.
Yeah,
65.
Bob Saget. He died at 65. Very unexpected. He just started a new comedy tour. They found him in his room at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Orlando.
Yeah.
For those of us that grew up
watching Full House.
Full House, he was always Danny Tanner to us.
What's really messed up is
he hated that role for the first season or two, but then he really embraced it.
Well, he hated the role because his comedy, he couldn't do his comedy act.
Yeah.
Because he had to be so squeaky clean. And as soon as he
and I was listening to Sirius Satellite Radio's Raw Dog Comedy channel today, and all day today they did nothing but Bob Saget. They played a couple of his whole, complete albums uninterrupted.
Yeah.
They did a couple of his talk show appearances where he was on the Bennington show called Unmasked over the last couple of years. Yeah. And then they did some of his stand-up bits.
And he is a dirty, dirty bird.
Oh, he's a dirty dude, and I ate it up. I loved his stand-up.
Yeah, he loved his stand-up. He is so great.
And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start looking for a lot of these movies that he directed, starred in, did cameos and stuff like that. And it's not to build like this.
You got to talk about the biggest cameo that he did.
Well, that's not the biggest cameo he did.
That's the biggest one that I love.
Well, that's the one that he's the most recognized for.
Yeah.
His biggest cameo is the one he did for Entourage. And they played a clip from him today that said something about him. They were trying to figure out a way for him to come back on the show as a recurring character and, just really kind of making him just over the top ballsy.
Mm-hmm.
And, so he's like, I'm down with that. Let's do this. Right. And a couple of years ago, he was trying to direct a documentary on comedian Martin Mull.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just listening to his interviews today, he worked with a lot, and I mean a lot of the comedy giants.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Hold on.
My favorite part of his role was in Half Baked when
Half
he
Baked, where he
screams out,
talked about sucking dick for coke. Yeah.
"Have you ever sucked dick for weed? I suck dick for coke. Not
that
you.
that is an addiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was basically kind of discovered more or less by Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
I mean, and he worked with some of the giants, dude. Rodney Dangerfield, Don Rickles became really great friends with him before he passed away. Obviously, great friends with Rodney Dangerfield. Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
Basically helped Sam Kinison get discovered. And I mean, obviously, Sam Kinison left us way too soon. 19-year-old drunk driver killed him and his brand new wife on their way back from the honeymoon at Lake Tahoe.
Which is sad because he literally went to rehab, got cleaned up, and he was killed by a drunk driver.
Yeah, I mean, he went to rehab, got married, and everything like that. But his shtick was just so over the top, like in your face.
Well,
like,
it's the
kind
same
of
reason.
the whole crowd engagement thing, like yelling at people, and people loved it. And he talked about a lot of that in some of the shows that they played today. He loved wiener jokes. We're talking about Bob Saget again. He's like wiener jokes and anal rape jokes. I mean, he was just, but he would talk about some of the behind the scenes stuff at Full House, and he would always he's like, well, I'm gonna drop some names like John Stamos and Dave Coulier. You know, he's like, I can do that because we're friends. I've seen them both naked. I'm aware of the nooks and crannies. It's just, I'm sitting there going, wow, made people privy to the fact that he and Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen had an inside joke that nobody else knew about.
Okay.
And it wasn't like dirty, but it was more, oh, come on, Georgia, hold on a second.
Well, let's see if I can find any news before he gets back on. I'm trying to keep it to where, because you go in for like almost like 45 seconds where you don't talk when you actually.
Well, dude, I really want to see Georgia win this game. Probably not going to happen, but I want to see Georgia win this game. Give the people from the state of Georgia something to cheer about and something to lean on other than the Atlanta Braves. The Braves cannot carry that load for too long. I'm just putting it out there, man.
I get you. You're putting in a load. It's all right.
And we're not talking like the cover of Load and Reload where it's just like jism under glass, but
yeah.
Anyways, digressing. So, but just the fact that just so unexpected, I mean, I saw that come across my feed yesterday. And I was like, no way. And I mean, I posted it on my Facebook page immediately. I was like, Mr. Tanner, no, I mean, 2022 is already putting in some work, man. I mean, dadgummit, I have just completely blocked out. We lost Betty White right before New Year's Day. Sidney Poitier died last week. Great actor. And then Bob Saget yesterday. And there was no drugs. They don't suspect drugs. They don't suspect foul play. They think maybe, I don't know, we're going to have to wait for the autopsy.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just a heart attack. I have no idea. And really, it's not going to do us any good to speculate as to the cause of death. But, it's, a situation where, I mean, I don't think that it's suicide. I don't. I think this is legitimate natural causes.
Well,
because he wasn't the kind of guy that just went out and He wasn't a partier.
Well, he has like a charity. Skeldrum. Skeldrum? What the hell is Skeldrum?
It's Escola.
Skeldrum.
Yeah, his sister died from it.
Yeah.
And 10 years ago, people were dying of it because it was a death sentence. He said, whenever you look at somebody who's suffering from that, it looks as though they had been burned. But basically what it is that their skin is changing and it's pulling back and it affects a lot of things internally. And his sister, she was diagnosed with it, and within a year, it was a rapid decline. She was gone.
Hmm.
So it's you know, it's one of those things that they had done a benefit for it every year. Robin Williams would always come and do stuff for it. He did like a Robin Williams impression today. It was actually pretty good. He said, Robin would come in and be like, "Oh, what do you need from me, Chief?" And he would just hands down. That would be his thing. And he talked about the loss of Robin Williams, and how it was just a blow to the world. The world
We are getting rid. We're losing a lot of our great comedians in the past couple of years.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, and I know that this may be, I don't know. I don't want to paint it with a broad brush, but a lot of our comedians, they finally sacked the Alabama quarterback. Wow. Okay. So I don't know if depression is just kind of a common denominator amongst comedians, but depression does get to a lot of them, and a lot of them suffer from it.
Yeah.
And they don't talk about it.
Well, a lot of
mental health has become more of a predominant subject matter, especially since Robin Williams left us.
Yeah.
Now, there is the conspiracy theory out there that, these people are being murdered, whatever, because of child, pedophilia or whatever. Like they know something and they're going to say something.
God, I would that would be weird. What Betty White would have done. It would. Conspiracy.
Well, no, I'm not talking about Betty White. No,
Yeah,
Betty White straight up natural causes. Obviously, she was 99. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Sidney Poitier, same thing. He was 92. But people like James Staley from Alice in Chains, Robin Williams, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. I mean, a lot of these people were heavy into the anti-child pornography, sex trafficking stuff. I mean, they were advocates for the takedown of these rings.
Yeah.
And just like Chester Bennington's wife, his widow, was like, he was happy. And we were making plans and just everything.
Yeah. It's
the day before. And, Robin Williams suffered from depression. And he would constantly relapse.
Yeah.
But
his problem was actually a genetic thing that just toppled him.
Yeah. But now, if you ask his daughter Zelda, I mean, she is completely content with the idea that her dad ended his life. And if that's the case, then we let him rest. I mean, obviously, we understand.
Well, what's bad for her,
sometimes the demons just get to be too much.
Yeah. Well, with her, it's she actually gets upset because every year now she gets condolences from people.
Yeah, well, she just wants to be left alone.
Yeah,
it's to the point where she doesn't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, and I totally understand. My stepmother did that every year for a while until she finally stopped. She was just like, "Oh, we missed this child that died." I'm like, "Bitch, fucking stop." I mean, it really just it just opens that floodgate, and I don't fucking need that.
Yeah, and those wounds never really truly heal.
Oh
And
no, they don't.
yeah, they'll scab over, but you get somebody that comes in and they just incessantly want to ram something in your face. It's to the point where Zelda Williams has finally deleted all of her social media accounts.
Yeah. And what's really sad is she was doing some good work too.
Yeah, I mean, she's still going to continue to do that work,
Yeah.
but she's going to do it without the social media. And, good for her, because while we're fans and, we grew up with people like Bob Saget, we grew up with people like Robin Williams. And we didn't necessarily grow up with Chester Bennington, but he did speak. I mean, he sung the soundtrack for a lot of our late teens to, early adulthood years.
Yeah.
And, if these people did commit suicide or, whatever the reason or whatever the cause of death, we need to leave their families alone, because while we considered them part of our family, these people were actual blood relation, or in the case of their wives, I mean, that was their spouse. This was the person that they had spent years with.
Yeah.
And I mean, while I'm pretty confident saying that I don't think the drugs or alcohol played a part in Bob Saget, the comedic world and just the entertainment world in general, they're waiting with bated breath to see what happens with the coroner report.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people. I even went in and I was like, I wonder what he died from. Because well, at 65, it's still at that age to where you're gonna have problems. You might die. I mean, it could go for well,
I mean, for all we know,
heart
he
problems
probably had
can
an
yeah
incredible, like an incredibly severe case of sleep apnea. I mean, we don't know,
yeah
but the world is definitely a less funny place because of him. And the one thing that was predominant through a lot of his comedy albums and a lot of his stand-up routines and a lot of the interviews that he gave, is the world's a fucked up place, and he just his role in this life is to make people laugh. And he knows that he was offensive. He knew that. Did that affect him? No, that didn't affect him at all. And all right, come on, what happened? Oh, okay. Anyways, so but I don't know. I mean, I think that we, as just the general public, need to let his family grieve. Let him do this, because he left behind a wife, an ex-wife, and 3 girls.
yeah
So, the interviews that he had given over the last couple of years, I mean, he really grew into the role of being a father, both in his personal life and because of Full House and ultimately Fuller House.
yeah
And so on my Instagram feed, I mean, I follow a lot of the actors from that series, just because, like, Candace Cameron Duro, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. I mean, she's big into like different charities, and she's a Christian. So, I follow her, and then like John Stamos, and the other people. I mean, of course, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. I don't follow them just because whatever. I'm not. I'm good. I'm good there.
yeah
It's kind of cool to see that this TV family that you and I grew up watching for 8 years really stayed together after the final curtain call.
yeah. Well, they had they just basically grew up together. I mean, look,
Yeah.
the babies. Even though John Stamos hated the twins at first, and it's one of those things. I don't know why. But it was that they literally grew up together. I mean, a lot of them had like some trouble. Which one was it? I think it was the middle child, I guess you would call her. The middle child ended up like getting into drugs and everything.
Yeah.
So that's,
She got, I think she got into drugs. And the girl that played Kim or Gibbler, Kimmy Gibbler.
yeah.
I mean, she really kind of came into her own, and she does a lot of. I mean, I think she's, with the exception of Fuller House, she stepped away from acting for the most part to just live a normal life.
Yeah. But they also
Um,
collect those checks, so
oh yeah, that show is never going away.
yeah.
And neither is Fuller House unless Netflix decides to take it off of their catalog. But which it's Netflix.
Well, the thing about it
they're
is
gonna they're gonna
nowadays,
cash in on that by pushing Fuller House back up to the front.
yeah. Well, the thing about like and we'll get after this we'll go ahead and just close out the show, as this is going to be a closing argument. The thing about
Yes, counselor.
the thing fuck off. The thing about the streaming shows now is they don't get that much money anymore.
They don't, unless it's specifically streaming.
But they actually,
the series they'll get. You know, they arrange for a contracted price.
that's why it's so cheap to put those get, like, I guess you would call it.
But yet
the
Netflix
movie.
and every streaming service out there decides that they want to jack our rates up because they can't control their budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you for watching, Angry Faithful. We'll give you the angry salute. And I'm David
Wait,
Dickerman.
hold on. I got something for the people on YouTube.
God,
Here we go. You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
You got to do the rapid fire with me.
Ready? Okay. I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
Thank you for watching Nerd Sports episode 40.
40. Oh my gosh.
It's
show
getting
hit
to
the
our
big 4-0.
age. Yeah.
Right?
It's getting to our age.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
3 more weeks and it's caught up with me.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right,
Talk
man.
to you later, people.